So let's talk about Verifiable Financial's income. The next story, a couple stories I like to share is Google's funding story. They were growing early on, and the owners, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, actually were short on some money. They needed more servers. They needed more equipment. Google's a very equipment-driven thing where you have to have all these servers to hold all the data and be able to have that readily available and functioning fast when someone does a search on Google, and that's how they were building it out. And so they were using some of their verifiable income, both personally and as a business, to qualify for some financing to buy some of these early servers and equipment that they had to have before Google became a household name and before they were able to raise, whatever it was, $50, $100, $200 million in venture capital funding. Before they got there, they had to have skin in the game themselves, and having that verifiable income helped. So as a business owner, if I want to qualify, for funding using my business income, what are they looking at?
I think the biggest thing that most lenders I'm finding will look at right now is it's kind of the "what have you done for me lately" concept.
100%.
They don't care that 2 years ago you were extremely profitable on a tax return. That doesn't matter to them anymore. They're going to look at your very, very heavily your 3 most recent bank statements, and then they're also going to ask for your 6 most recent when it really comes down to that main decision they're making.
Exactly. They're very savvy. They've got all these business bank account programs where companies like Plaid, they're able to connect up. They see exactly, and they're looking for trends. And some of the trends they're looking for is what's your average daily balance. So if you're someone who's putting the bank account in the negative, and one of the craziest things I ever saw, we had a client who applied for funding. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. And the dude literally was going negative 83, negative 100,000, and his bank was letting him do it. And they were charging him a fortune in overdraft fees and negative bank account balance fees, but they was literally negative $80,000 to $100,000 once a month, and he'd had the bank account for years, and so they knew he was most likely going to bring it up. Boy, awfully risky. I don't know if I'd be doing that if I was the bank, but if you're putting your bank account in the negative, how are you going to afford a business loan?
Exactly. I mean, that's the decision. That's what they're going to look at and say, if it's going negative every month, there's no surplus. I don't care what you're using the loan for, you're not going to be able to pay it back right away. And where I have seen this kind of get a little complicated, Leo, is people that are now doing this profit-first strategy. And so they have 5 different bank accounts that the money's all going into, and the lender says, connect your business bank account. And it's like, well,
I got 5.
Exactly. And so they connect their main that it all comes into, but everything's going out, so it doesn't look great. So if you are doing that strategy, I would suggest you create a really, really good plan with a funding professional to condense those into one PDF with all of your accounts there. And instead of just blindly applying, I would contact the lender, say, hey, here's the exact situation. Here's all 5 accounts. We are actually very profitable. We just disperse it differently. So it's kind of putting that together before you just go blindly apply with a lender.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you've got a complicated situation, let them know. But it is nice if you can kind of have most of your business banking at one account. Now, I think it is important to have a separate account, maybe a sacred account where you are, hey, this is our profit, and we've got to figure out how to make it work so that you're actually being profitable in your business, or you're putting money aside to invest, or money aside for taxes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of business owners out there, and tax time is coming up, and they're going to be very surprised when their accountant says, son or ma'am, you owe $25,000 in taxes personally as the business owner, because that was the additional money you made, and so you better have that money sitting in the savings account ready to go out. There's nothing worse than owing the IRS money and having to do a payment plan and pay a bunch of interest and have a tax lien on your property. So, you're always better off having that money saved up. But I will say this, and there's a big misinformation about this, file your tax return. So many business owners I've seen will go literally fall behind years with their taxes, and they are in so much trouble with the IRS, but they just think they're going to be okay not filing, and now they've got all these penalties, all these interests owed, and they didn't realize they could have just set up a payment plan. The IRS will actually let you finance your back taxes owed up to like 10, 15, 20 years. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So they'll make the payment affordable for you, and then you need to get ahead of that and not be in that situation next time. So,
I think a 0% interest credit card is a great way to pay your taxes too. If you didn't plan ahead, you didn't save that money, and all of a sudden it's like, crap, I owe $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in taxes. Well, guess what? You can make that payment on a credit card, And it's a great
Very
way
true.
to put it on a 0% card and set a plan to pay that back over the next 12 to 15 months. And that way you're not paying all these taxes and penalties for either extending or going on a payment plan with the IRS. Just do it on your own internal payment plan.
That's so smart, Ty, because a lot of people will do the payment plan and IRS will charge you 18, 20% interest for being late. Not to mention they'll have these bonus late fees on top of the interest that they charge you, right? And so if you borrow money at 0% interest or even a business line of credit at 8 to 10%, that's a lot cheaper. And then you don't have that burden of owing the IRS and you get it paid off. Oh, yeah, that's worth its weight.
You know what's funny? I've had clients literally tell me, like, Ty, the IRS is going to charge me a fee if I put it on a credit card. I'd rather just set up a payment plan with them. I'm like, oh my goodness, wait a minute. It's like a 3.5 or 4% processing fee to put it on a card versus 18% or whatever interest it is they're going to charge you over the next 10 years, however your payment plan works. It's like, do the very basic math, talk to a professional, talk to your CPA, go get that business credit card or even personal credit card and pay your taxes.
0% with a 3% fee or 18%.
Yeah.
Gotta weigh that one out and make a good decision. All right, guys, so that's verifiable business income with personal income. I mean, you're qualifying for, if you're a business owner, obviously if you're employed, it's just your last couple pay stubs, pretty simple, give out that W-2. But if you're a business owner, they're looking at your personal tax return 1040 for a mortgage, car loan, and they're looking at that bottom line adjusted gross income number that is your actual net income. So what can be tough for a lot of business owners is they have some depreciation, some other expenses, maybe they're real estate investors, and they really made a lot of money, but because they had depreciation expenses that wiped out that income, now they show no income, and it gets really tough for them to qualify for any financing. And so if you know that, as a business owner, you're going to be looking to buy a house in a year or two, and maybe you're expecting the market to come down a little bit. It's come down in the last year, and you're looking for that opportunity. Well, you should plan on showing more income so you qualify and get with your mortgage brokers so you can actually buy that property.
Yeah, I mean, paying yourself W-2 for a little while can be a great way to do it. I know it's a little bit more from a tax liability standpoint, but that way you can at least get into the home that you want. And then if you need to adjust the way you're paying yourself once you're in the home, that's totally fine.
That's right. They love W-2. When it comes to personal lending, personal loans, auto loans, mortgages, credit, they just love that W-2. So it's a good point. Paying yourself W-2, another great solution.